Okay, so I've just received the production version of the new Team Associated TC7 touring car kit, and I thought while I'm building mine I'll take you through it, show you what they've improved, what they've changed, and give you a few tips along the way. Okay, so one of the main things that have changed is the plastic parts. The key components of the plastic parts, they've made them a lot lighter and a lot stronger. Okay, so if we look at the old TC6.2 rear arm, that weighs 10.8 grams. And then we look at the new TC7 rear arm, 7.6 grams. So there's a big saving there on the unsprung weight of the suspension, which is never a bad thing on a racing car. Okay, so we're going to put these bits together so you can just see how it all fits, and I'll give you a few tips along the way. Okay, so we'll pop the rear hub into the rear wishbone. So first thing you need to do is just finish the hole off. The way these are moulded, there's a skin of plastic that's left between the grub screw hole and the hinge pin hole. So you just want to poke that through so that when you put the grub screw in, it doesn't bottom out on the plastic, it bottoms out on the pin. So all I do is just get the 2mm driver and just pop it in the hole and just basically just punch it through like that. And then just take the hinge pin and just make sure that there's no bits of plastic left in there. Just clean it through. And then that's ready to go into the wishbone. So line the wishbone up and put the pin in. There we go. And then we just grab the grub screw. Now the only thing you want to do with the grub screw is just take your time putting it in. Just make sure you get it nice and straight so you don't cross thread it, because if you get it in straight, then it's going to come in and out perfectly every time, and you better take it apart and put it back together without the thread being all messed up. Where if you cross the thread, then the next time you go to do it up, you'll probably strip it. So you can do this up pretty tight. I mean, it's still plastic, so you don't want to overdo it, but it's pretty hard plastic, so you can do it up pretty tight. And that should be nice and free. There's no reaming required, no play, no shims. Nice and free, perfect. So we're going to put the bearings in. And again, you don't want the bearings to be too tight, and you don't want them to be too loose. So the moulding's got to be, got to be right. And they've got it dead right. They just slide in nicely. Put the crunch spacer on the inside, and then the inside one in. Nice, perfect fit. And then put the drive shaft through. Stick the drive pin in and the hex. Do that up, and there you go. So you've got no shimming, no play. There's basically no play in the axle, and that's the beauty of a crunch spacer. When you put the wheel on and do it up, you're not going to squash the bearing, so there's no play in anything. It's very nice part. Right, so we move on to the front corner. Now, anyone who knows about caster blocks and have built caster blocks over the years know they can be a bit of a pain. But Associated have done a good job in moulding it. They've left this mould piece on basically to keep it from closing up, because generally when the caster block is moulded over time, it's when it cools down, it sort of closes, and you lose the shape. But by leaving this on, it keeps it nice and square. So obviously you snap that off before you start building. So we'll pop all this is together. We'll just pop that into place, get it around the right way, slide that in. Right, so when you put the kingpins in, you just want to, again, like the grub screw on the rear hub, just spend a bit of time making sure they go in straight, basically. And something that I do, and it's something, it's not that important, but I use a countersink screw for the bottom one, because it centres itself on the collet. The button head screw's fine. It's just something I always tend to do. Use a countersink one. It centres itself and helps everything stay in a straight line. Okay, so we'll pop that in place. So say, just spend a bit of time getting these in straight, and you can see when they're going straight, because when you're turning it stays in a straight line. It's not wobbling around, basically. And you want the top one and the bottom one to do the same. And it should all do up nice and square. Now, what I tend to do also is just hold it to an outside lock. I'm not really sure why, but for some reason when you hold it to an outside lock, you tend to get a freer action, just holds everything in place better. So again, just hold it on the outside lock while you do those up, and then hopefully you'll have a nice free action steering and virtually no play up and down. I mean, anyone who's built many of these will know that that's very hard to get. No play, wobble around in anything, but still a nice free action. And just to finish off on the weights again, just to show you that it's not just comparing an old Associated to a new Associated. If we take a well-known touring car and better turn the scales on, and just check the weight, all the same parts: wishbone, cast block, steering block, drive shaft, bearings, roll bar link, 34.9, and then we pop on the new TC7, 30.2. And you might see I've got the titanium coated balls there, which I use, but they don't weigh any less than the standard ones because they're steel titanium coated. They're not actually titanium, they're just steel but titanium coated. So you can see it's a very well made car. You know, no need for any hop ups, you know, harder arms, stronger arms. It all comes in the kit, exactly what you need.